Hello, hi. Welcome to the classroom. Please like, share, and definitely don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Determining the production budget. Knowing exactly how much you need to produce to break even. And not only that, but to pay the people and to buy the machinery which you may need to work will all need to be considered when drawing up the budget. The cost accountant has to give an accurate estimation of the production costs to enable the business to determine a competitive selling price. The cost accountant will work closely with the financial department, the production or operation manager, and the purchasing function to determine and minimize the costs where necessary, without sacrificing on quality. Determining the production quantities. Depending on the type of business which you have, you will have to consider how fast you will need to produce your products. The production quantities will obviously be determined by a number of factors. If a large capital investment is needed to obtain the required equipment, production on a large scale may be better to ensure that the optimum return on investment is achieved. If the final product allows for a high level of standardization, for example, manufacturing pens or computers, then a large-scale production will be most beneficial for you. If it is an exclusive product, just like a wedding dress as we spoke about in job production, then producing on a small scale will be the better option. Stock control. Do you remember the purchasing function? Where there were concepts such as the right place, the right price, the right time, the right quality and quantity? The purchasing department must buy material, both raw materials and capital assets, for the production department. The productions manager has to monitor the supply chain within the business and order the necessary inventory before it is needed. Proper materials management means that the production department has to determine the optimum stock levels. The minimum stock level is the lowest level of stock that can be tolerated before production or service levels are negatively affected. The maximum stock level, on the other hand, should not be exceeded, because this will result in stock becoming obsolete and consequently the business may suffer a loss. Think about concepts such as LIFO and FIFO. One of the most commonly used stock control systems is EPOS, or Electrical Point of Sale Scanning Equipment. This is a system that big retailers such as Pick n Pay and Checkers use. The items are scanned at the till and the computer automatically deducts the stock items from their inventory. When a certain predetermined stock level is reached, then the computer will alert the purchasing department that an order needs to be placed. It is thus possible for the business to determine the amount and value of stock on hand without having to do a physical stock count. The system will also help in identifying theft, damaged and obsolete stock. Safety measures. This consideration is for any risk which will be associated with the health and safety of your employees. To prevent any unsafe conditions in the workplace, the business should put the necessary safety policies and procedures in place by training its employees and implementing procedures to ensure workers adhere to the safety guidelines. Where or what are these safety guidelines? The Occupational Health and Safety Act prescribes the roles and responsibilities of employers, employees, manufacturers, suppliers, and sellers. The Act requires that every business establish and maintain a safe working environment and minimize risks to the health and safety of its workers. The Act will also specify that in the event of a dangerous situation in the workplace that cannot completely be eliminated, then employees must be informed and precautionary measures must be put in place. All employees must cooperate and must follow the instruction given by the safety representative. Employees are also expected to report any unsafe situations to the safety representative. So, what does this mean exactly for employers? Well, if you employ more than 50 people, then you must appoint a safety officer. The duties of the employer as stipulated by the OHSA are: as an employer, you must draw up a health and safety policy for your employees. A safe work environment must be provided for your employees. You must educate your employees regarding health and safety issues. If you have appointed a health and safety officer, then they must take the necessary precautions for the safety of their employees and provide them with clear instructions on how they will comply with the Act. The Act must be clearly displayed in the workplace. The Workplace Safety Policy. The workplace policy must include responsibilities and mechanisms for reporting accidents and potentially harmful conditions. If your employees know what to do, how to do it, and why safety measures are important, then this will prevent injuries and create a safer and more productive working environment. The OHSA creates prescriptions which are important, and some of them are: any factories must comply with the safety measures regarding the protections laid down by the OHSA. General safety and conservation of the environment, the pollution of air, emission of poisonous gases, and industrial waste must be monitored and controlled by the factory's production manager. The Compensation for Occupational Injuries and Diseases Act pays compensation to employees who suffer permanent or temporary disability due to workplace injuries. The Infectious Diseases Act seeks to control the spread of infectious diseases such as HIV or AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. An employer has a responsibility to see that the adequate measures are in place to prevent new infections. You see, accidents impact on production. A safe working environment leads to greater productivity and lowers business costs. Health and safety is not the sole responsibility of the employer. The employer and employees share in the responsibility of being proactive to identify risk situations and to implement the necessary control mechanisms to avoid these situations. This means that there should be a cooperation between the employers and employees over health and safety issues in the business. According to the Act, the employer is responsible to establish a health and safety committee. This committee should consist of management and employees who will monitor the health and safety within the business. This committee should make the necessary recommendations to management regarding health and safety issues and the implementation of policies and procedures at all levels in the business. Members of the committee should conduct both planned and unplanned inspections in various areas to make sure that the risk systems are in place and working well, but also to monitor the day-to-day operations to identify potential risks that had not been identified before. Practical safety measures in a manufacturing plant. If conditions in the factory are not closely monitored and safety measures implemented, it will jeopardize the health and safety of employees, and this could have a negative impact on productivity. So, what can management do? Well, they can provide the correct clothes, such as helmets, boots, welding goggles, and gloves. Employees should be trained in first aid. The following are basic rules relating to firefighting issues. Employees should be trained in fire prevention measures. Fire marshals and firefighting equipment should be available. Fire escapes may not be blocked. Flammable material, such as fuel, must be stored underground and warnings must be displayed. Firewalls must also be built. And a non-slip floor or rubber boots will help in preventing employees from falling and injuring themselves. Maintenance. Machine utilization refers to the number of hours per day that the machine is used. The business invests large amounts of capital in machinery and equipment. Therefore, machines should be used to their full capacity. If a machine breaks down, it means that there is a loss in production time, and idle time means money is wasted. Maintenance prevents unnecessary breakdowns, which will result in slower production processes. Other benefits of regular maintenance will be improved safety, reliability of the production process, increased lifespan of your equipment, and lower operation costs. The types of maintenance that should be carried out may include corrective maintenance or remedial maintenance, which takes place when the machine has already broken down and is then repaired. Preventative maintenance is done to forestall machine breakdowns, thus averting lost production time. Conditional maintenance is routine by nature, as the machines are serviced at regular intervals. Because these routine checks are scheduled, the production manager can effectively monitor the production process to ensure that the business is able to meet the required production levels. Short-term decisions or tasks. The work plan. The production manager has to determine the most effective sequence that will be followed as the product passes through the production process. Remember, we spoke about the production plan in part 1. Do you still remember what we said? Control and follow up are very important because the manager has to determine whether plans are executed correctly, and if not, to implement corrective measures. One element of control is to perform quality control checks.
Thank you for joining us for this lesson. If you learned something, please give this video a like, share, and subscribe.